favorite players. I'm glad to see her back, suited and booted, ready to ball. She's probably arguably, I don't know, one of my she top five favorite women's basketball player. She's up there too. Juju Watkins. I rock with Juju. I like Juju. I really like Juju Watkins. She's back, suited and booted. Now, with that being said, Team USA basketball down there in training camp, ready to go. Get ready for September. And I'm here to tell you,
the evidence has been sitting in public view for anyone willing to look, and what it reveals about Caitlin Clark's impact on women's basketball consumption is nearly impossible to argue against. Team USA's social media activity during the current training camp stretch has laid bare just how much of the audience followed Clark specifically and how little of it transferred when she was no longer in the picture. Clark claimed the FIBA World Cup MVP award during the last international cycle, and the engagement figures attached to that run were extraordinary across every platform Team USA operated. The current camp, which features a loaded group of talent, has not come close to replicating that kind of traction.
Get ready for September. And I'm here to tell you, the fans don't want to see none of it. Y'all, no Caitlin Clark equal no views, no fans tuning in, and that equal disaster. And I want y'all to know that this isn't something we're just pulling out of the sky. This isn't something that just popped up on the scene. This ain't clickbait, bruh. Let's head on over to Team USA Basketball X account. So this is them yesterday, right? This is Kayla Thornton officially clocking back.
Paige Buchers rejoining the program gave the numbers a modest bump. Her footage pulled around 60,000 views, the highest of any current cycle post. Kayla Thornton's return content landed near 15,000. A separate post reached 28,000. Cameron Brink's highlight drew roughly 14,000. And Juju Watkins, widely considered one of the freshest names in women's basketball, generated approximately 34,000 on her camp footage. Those figures exist in a completely different universe from what the account was producing with Clark in uniform. Content from the North Carolina training window hit 165,000 views.
This is Kayla Thornton officially clocking back. So this is just one of her highlights. Y'all see these little lines down here, this little graph down here? They're the views. Them is the views for the people watching these videos that's been released. This is one here.
It's a blessing to be representing my country. It's an honor.
So this whole post got about 15K views. Now, this is some lightning fast moves, Ray Hoops, right? This one got about 28,000 views. Now, this here, get them hyped up, Paige Beckers. Now,
a separate post cleared 200,000. The peak clip reached 515,000, nearly 9 times what Buchers, the current top performer in this group, managed. Additional posts from that era ranged from 126,000 to 150,000, all sitting comfortably above anything the present roster has produced. The pattern is consistent and the margin is wide.
Get them hyped up, Paige Beckers. Now, this is Paige Beckers. Let's see this. It's Paige. He did a little better with Paige. He got about 60,000 views. Now, who is this? This Cameron Brink. Shout out to Cameron Brink. I like her too. Cameron Brink, 14,000 views from Cameron Brink. My girl, Juju Watkins. Now, Juju Watkins came. Y'all see how that needle moved up a little bit? But
women's basketball has legitimate star power across several players, but the concentration of casual audience interest around Clark specifically represents something the sport has not seen before and has not been able to redistribute elsewhere. On a separate front, UConn head coach Gino Auriemma addressed the growing conversation around relaxing the age restrictions that currently govern when women's players can enter the WNBA. His position came down firmly against a one-and-done model, though he stopped short of insisting on a mandatory 4-year commitment. The core of his argument rested on visibility.
Juju Watkins. Now, Juju Watkins came. Y'all see how that needle moved up a little bit, but it's not quite there yet. It's not quite there yet. Juju Watkins back on the scene, stretching, ready to work. But Juju Watkins, I think the views went up a whole lot because Juju Watkins in this clip. Juju Watkins definitely in this clip. See the views, coach talking, 34,000 views. Now, I'm done talking about this one. Let's head over here to when CeCe was playing. You see, this is the beginning when they was in North Carolina, right?
College basketball, in his view, gives female players something the WNBA cannot offer in year one: sustained national exposure built across multiple seasons. A player who departs after a single collegiate year exits before that following has fully formed, and the program she leaves behind cannot seamlessly produce a comparable replacement. The result, Auriemma suggested, would be a net loss for the overall health of the women's game.
165,000 views. Oh no, there's more. There's more. Damn. 200,000. You see? You see? It's not even close. And this right here is the icing on the cake. Let's pull this one up. 515.
He pointed to baseball's framework as the most sensible model, a structure that either allows exit directly from high school, which he acknowledged almost no player would realistically be equipped for, or mandates a minimum 3-year college window before professional eligibility kicks in. Football's developmental philosophy, which shields younger athletes from competing against physically mature professionals before they are ready, was cited as further justification for protecting players' growth timelines. Auriemma also flagged the NIL landscape as a factor working against early departure arguments.
1,000 views, bro. Let's play this little clip. 11 seconds. You see? Now y'all see what I'm talking about. Let me blow it up so y'all can see it all the way. 515,000 views, bro.
With college athletes now generating significant income at the amateur level, the financial pull toward professional leagues has weakened considerably to the point where some players are actively choosing to extend their college careers rather than rush toward the draft. In his assessment, the current framework, tweaked modestly along baseball's lines, remains the structure best suited to developing both players and the audience around them. With the WNBA draft just days away, early reports are already pointing toward Indiana Fever targets that could reshape the roster in a significant way.
I'm not clickbaiting these numbers. I'm not none of that. Hold on, let's see this one. 126,000. You see the big difference? There's a big difference. Let's check out this clip.
It feels amazing. We're competing.
Like, this isn't us just saying stuff or doing. Let's watch.
When you're at
150,000.
I remember.
Bro, it's not even close.
According to a recent Sports Illustrated piece, there are 4 college seniors worth tracking closely, players whose skill sets align almost perfectly with what the Fever need around Caitlin Clark heading into next season. The draft itself lands on April 13th, one day after free agency opens on the 12th. That back-to-back timing means Indiana will be making decisions quickly, and the possibility exists that the Fever could build out their supporting cast almost entirely through the draft rather than leaning heavily on free agency.
Okay. Because we know we gonna possibly keep Kelsey Mitchell, and we got KK on the team, we got Leah Boston on the team, and we got none other than the Shigoat, Caitlin Clark. We only need a couple more pieces. And if they could skip free agency and just draft players and develop them, y'all understand how scary good this is about to be. And I ain't talking no run-of-the-mill players. I'm talking big program players that perform on very, very high levels. Big program players that's making their...
The current core: Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, Kelsey Mitchell, and Sophie Cunningham only needs a few more complementary pieces to become genuinely dangerous. If those pieces arrive through smart drafting, the development ceiling for this group becomes something other teams around the league will need to take seriously. The first name that comes up is Gabrielle Jaquez out of UCLA.
Big program players that's making their way to potentially winning a national title. Let's dive into this article, man. This article was released by Sports Illustrated this morning. Now, this article right here is very, very profound because it gives great detail on, I think, some players that could come in and make what? Immediate impact. Let's dive into it, man. 4 final players who would make perfect sense next to Caitlin Clark. Keep an eye on these seniors. Yes.
A big wing who can guard multiple positions, pursue offensive boards, and knock down threes at a reliable clip, Jaquez fits the Indiana profile almost exactly. She has been a major reason UCLA made it back to the Final Four, averaging 13.5 points, 5.4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1.2 steals per game while shooting 54% from the field and 39% from three. The shot creation ability is what stands out most. She does not need to be set up to score. She can manufacture her own looks.
So let's read this real quick, man. It says it's finally April, which means women basketball fans have one big thing happening after another. The expansion draft for the Tempo and Fire will take place Friday, April the 3rd. That's what I'm thinking about. I had my dates mixed up because the draft is on the 13th. Now, that same day, UConn and South Carolina and UCLA and Texas will battle it out in the Final Four. WNBA free agency starts when? April 12th, and the draft will take place the very.
That kind of self-sufficiency off the bench, capable of producing 10 or more points in a limited role, is exactly the kind of depth the Fever roster has been missing. The second UCLA player on the list is Gianna Neepkins, widely considered the most reliable three-point shooter in this draft outside of Paige Bueckers. She is converting 42% of her attempts on 5.3 tries per game and brings solid mid-range efficiency alongside genuine defensive discipline.
And the draft will take place the very next day. So you know what that means, right? So you know what that means. For Fever fans, there's a lot to think about. Who will the Tempo and Fire snag in the first expansion draft? Who can the Fever add in free agency? Who will be their first round pick? Now, they listed Gabriella Jaquez out of UCLA, man. With the guard like Caitlin Clark, you can never have enough big wings.
Clark's ability to draw attention and find open shooters makes a player like Neepkins an obvious fit. The main question is whether she will still be available by the time Indiana makes their selection. The most compelling name in the piece is Raven Johnson from South Carolina,
who can defend multiple positions, crash the boards, and drain three-pointers. Now, we know how much the Indiana Fever love three-point shooters. Caitlin Clark definitely loved three-point shooters. And let's say potentially, allegedly, food for thought, Kelsey Mitchell do leave. We will have to get another three-point shooter to kind of fill that void. Now, the article goes on to say Gabrielle Jaquez has been just that for the Bruins during their almost flawless run back to the Final Four. The senior is currently averaging 13.5.
No player in this draft class has improved their stock more dramatically over the past year. Johnson doubled her scoring average from last season, demonstrated she is far more than a defensive specialist and floor organizer, and led her program back to the Final Four. Her ability to run a second unit behind Clark, handle pressure, and bring consistent defensive intensity makes her a genuine steal if she is still on the board when Indiana picks.
The senior is currently averaging 13.5 points, 5.4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1.2 steals per game, while shooting 54% from the field and 39% from three. This young lady right here is a productive player and someone I feel like that can go out there and get her own buckets. Long as she get the ball in her hand, she know how to put it in a round circle. And this is somebody that I think that could come in maybe off the bench and get you maybe 10. Get you maybe.
The added context that Johnson held Clark to 3 for 1-1 shooting in a national championship game 2 years ago makes the fit even more interesting from a team chemistry standpoint. Having someone on the roster who already knows how to push Clark in practice is not a small thing. The fourth option is Sedona Prince from South Carolina, a center averaging a double-double at 13.2 points and 10 rebounds per game. Indiana is well covered in the starting front court with Boston, but the backup center position behind her has been a weakness.
And maybe off the bench and get you maybe 10. Get you maybe 7, 8. You know, this is something that the Fever been missing a little bit. Somebody that could come in off the bench and get their own buckets, man. Let's go to the next one. Who did they have next? They got, I'm going to just say Gianna Napersons, another UCLA player. Now, speaking of three-point shooting and the UCLA Bruins, let's just say GK is the best shooter in the draft after Ozzie Fudd. She sinks 42% of her 5-point.
A long, physical rim runner who can catch, finish, and defend at the next level would give the Fever lineup a different look and something opposing defenses would need to account for. Prince's size and production suggest a higher ceiling than what is currently available in that backup role. The broader point is straightforward.
After Ozzie Fudd, she sinks 42% of her 5.3 attempts per game, is good in the mid-range, and provides solid defense. That's just what the Fever want next to Caitlin Clark, who can get the ball to any open shooter. Now, these players, especially her, she's a very, very good defensive player. I don't know if the Fever will have her available when they draft pick come around. I don't know the exact number that the Fever has.
If Indiana executes this draft correctly, the additions could arrive on affordable rookie deals, develop within a winning system, and contribute immediately without the financial commitment that comes with free agency. The pieces are there. The draft order and availability will determine how much of this actually comes together.